Welcome to the My Rules Are Better podcast. I'm Tom Barbley. Today, a few topics of note that just kind of percolated through my general thinking. I bought the book The Goblin Master, which is a biography of Kev Adams. Kev Adams has been probably a heavily represented sculptor in my miniature collection. And Kev Adams and I share a few mutual friends, which gave me an introduction to Kev's work that he is probably one of these people who is a psychedelic user and psychedelic extremist who has really changed the vision associated with Games Workshop's game development, specifically Warhammer Fantasy, but also potentially Warhammer 40k. And the influence of Kev Adams has been, well, in my own understanding, quite extreme, associated with the fact that he once lived in a world of goblins and his visionary status, his artistic visionary status based on really strong psychedelic journeys that he undertook. This is not the book that I have purchased. And I reflect periodically that I occasionally buy these books with the hope that they will read in some way, and practically they just don't read in that direction. It's not something I can force. You know, it's written like it was written by some high school students that didn't want to admit that they'd done much naughtiness, although it does talk about his weapons carrying and general stuff associated with his early life. It's really a very interesting book in what it misses, and also the way that they reveal these characters who are all very well known if you know the hobby. There's also another book which is being brought up by a different couple of people, and I'm wondering if this Kev Adams book is an early shot over the bow of that book. I'm no doubt going to buy that book as well, and just usually go through these things and probably not get anything fulfilling what I wanted. I wanted to talk a little bit. I've had this experience with a site called Temu, which enables you to buy Games Workshop-related stuff, but from China directly. I think they're probably slightly damaged items that wouldn't go directly into Games Workshop. So I bought maybe 3 of the action figure series, that 2 of them are Space Marines and 1 of them is a Chaos Space Marine. And they're very much sent as if they're not fully validated Games Workshop things. It makes me really reflect heavily on what being Games Workshop actual proprietary stuff means and whether or not this is something I support. And I raise this currently because one of the things that's really exciting me about Games Workshop currently is the release of what they call Warhammer the Old World, which is square-based fantasy. It makes me realize that after that's released, I might be able to buy White Dwarfs again and these kind of things. It's a very curious time frame. Obviously, I have a bunch of square-based armies, thanks in large part to Rochi Rochford, whose name rhymes with crotch, who hasn't sent back the stuff that he still has of mine, unfortunately, so I'm trying to negotiate that with him in the upcoming weeks. But, you know, slow going with regards to getting back the remainder of my Skaven army and some of the lead pile. So that's really all I can editorialize about that. But it's actually, I find quite exciting the potential of what Games Workshop will offer. I mean, obviously they're going to probably break the base sizes and require larger bases and all this other kind of stuff. You can actually buy wooden extenders that you place around bases if need be. And I don't know. I don't know whether it'll require such a substantial rebasing of various armies that I have that it'll just merit itself doing a little bit more permanent than the addition of kind of square rounding or square edges to make the bases a little larger. We'll have to play it by ear. Anyway, when I reflect on the number of armies that I have, it could be quite interesting to have this be a thing which hopefully some percentage of my fellow game enthused folks in Las Vegas might want to pick up, and maybe even potentially have games associated with getting together with other folks that have had historical armies that they've maintained over the dark period. It is very much an apology, I think, from Games Workshop associated with the mistake they made with Age of Sigmar. That's my hope anyway. That's why I'm using it in my emotional energy, to just make it feel like this thing. So these, I think, were the topics. Oh, I did want to mention that Barney Dicker has come back into the foray and actually promoted or gave a little bit of a conversation in the Discord server that he, Spence Game, and what was the other fellow's name? David Sermon, normally are all together on this Discord channel. Usually it's just me and Spencer. Barney did kind of wave recently and indicated that reports of his demise are not currently that well founded. However, I would like to talk to the gentleman at some stage, and the fact that Spencer has finally actually been able to GM a game involving Barney, well, GM a game full stop, is good news. So shout out to friend Spencer as well. Tom Barbley in Las Vegas, Nevada, signing out.